Ooh, just got an excitement quiver to film here today. Okay, well, the combination of the overalls with the braids is like a little jarring, I feel. My friend Nolan that does my extensions is probably somewhere watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and just felt like he got a punch to the gut. And then he's gonna be summoned to this video and he's gonna be here watching this, and then he's gonna send me a picture of him watching it on a gigantic TV screen that nobody should watch any beauty YouTube videos on. And he's gonna be like, why did you choose to turn on your camera with half wet braids? And I don't have an answer for you, Nolan. Hey guys, it's been a little bit. We haven't had childcare. It's been great. It actually has been great in a way. It's like a catch-22 because I feel like when we have childcare for both children, it's lovely in that we can get things done. And I also feel like by the time that, because our oldest child is in daycare, our youngest, we had a nanny for that was just a friend that was on the island. But she's gone now, she's traveling. So when we would like pick up our oldest from daycare and the nanny would leave and whatever, it was like at that time, we would usually kind of be like getting ready for dinner and then like doing like bedtime routine and whatever. So it's been kind of nice having like a good chunk of the day to just actually spend time with my youngest child. I don't know, it's been really pleasant actually. But I get nothing done. I haven't even posted on my Instagram stories in a very long time, except to tell everyone that I've started wearing socks with sandals. Things are looking suspiciously 32 around here. It just, the way in which, I will get to a video like eventually, I think. The way in which your 30s takes hold without you even realizing. It's just like at some point, yeah, you look at a pair of Birkenstocks and you're like, actually, those aren't the ugliest shoes I've ever seen. And suddenly I've ordered myself a pair and suddenly I'm most excited about that package to be delivered. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it kind of all goes downhill from there. I have sleep paralysis now. There's just a lot going on. Anyways, that aside, I made the mistake of downloading Threads and I am overcome with depression. I don't really spend any time at all on TikTok. I have Facebook literally only so that I can know what's going on in my community. So Instagram was really the only platform that I was spending time on, and my Instagram feed recently has become so majestically curated. I only have a 30-minute time limit on my phone. Like I have an app where it like locks you out, like actually locks you out. You cannot get around it. It's beautiful and horrifying. But I only have 30 minutes a day to spend on Instagram. But those 30 minutes are bliss because it literally is just like mushrooms, gardening, pretty women, like broccoli-based dishes. It's just truly perfection. And then I downloaded Threads, which is like every horrifying political conspiracy theory I could possibly imagine. And the conspiracy theories these days are not seeming so far-fetched when you have a president in charge of the United States who's suggesting that you no longer be an independent country. So anyways, I'm feeling a little bit dismayed with like just like the state of the world in general. I just think it's more important now than ever to support all the people, all the companies, all the things you love. And one small way in which I'm doing that is here today because I wanted to talk about a company that I love. This is perhaps one of my longest intros yet, but I'm glad that we spent the time here together today. The brand that I wanted to talk to you guys about, most of you will be not at all surprised about, that is Salt New York. This is not a sponsored video. I am not being paid to do this. What prompted me to do this actually, this is going to be cryptic because I'm not wanting to share details about something that is not mine to share. But I was talking with Kiki, and Kiki owns Salt New York, and she was telling me about something that's going on in her personal life. And I just was so struck by the fact that Kiki, just like, how do you describe her? She is so deeply insane. And she is one of the best examples that I have ever come across of someone who truly lives their values. On camera, off camera, doesn't matter. This is somebody who, again and again and again, I just see her showing up for the causes she believes in, staying true to her values, and just being really unabashed in doing those things, standing behind what she believes is right. And so all that to say, I think that she is just a fantastic person in general. I think that she's running a fantastic company that I would love for you to support. I'm gonna prep my eyeballs. I'm not gonna do any makeup on my eyes, I don't think. Like maybe I'll put on a little swipe of mascara or something. But I just wanna, you know, get her done. I will actually tell you guys how I met Kiki because it was your fault. I'm pretty sure it was back on Twitter, good old Twitter days. You guys had kind of connected us. A lot of people had tweeted me over the years being like, oh, I think you would love Salt New York. And then a lot of people had tweeted at Kiki being like, oh, like you should send product to Sam. And then she sent me an email being like, hey, everyone thinks that we would like love each other. So can I send you product? I didn't bring down like any brushes whatsoever. Can I just like use my finger? I'm gonna try it and see how it goes. So Kiki sent me product many years ago, and we just kind of like hit it off. We got along really well. And we started talking more because at that point I had started behind the scenes working on Auric. She obviously owns her own company. And so we just would lament about all the different things. Like we started really chatting a lot once I was doing like product development and stuff like that before we had launched. And I was dismayed by how unwilling a lot of labs are to basically make it accessible for anybody to be inclusive. Some of you may know, I'm sure I've talked about it before, but a lot of labs, no, all labs have MOQs, minimum order quantities. And basically that can sometimes be per product, but it's more often per shade. So that might look like, you know, 5,000 units per shade of each whatever thing. So when you see a lot of brands coming out with things that maybe don't feel so inclusive, oftentimes that's the reason for it. It becomes extremely costly to do multiple shades of things because if you're having to order that much stock for every single shade, then that's a lot of capital you need upfront to do things. And labs are like virtually not at all flexible. They're very rigid about those MOQs and it's for a reason, like it makes sense and it's the worst. So that was one issue, but also I found that like with Glow Lust, for instance, that was one of the first products that we launched with Auric. And we wanted to come out with a lot of shades because we wanted it to be something that was like, you know, obviously inclusive and while it's a flexible product, like I personally can wear usually about 3 different shades of Glow Lust, and we made it so that it would be flexible. We still wanted to make sure that we were catching as many skin tones as humanly possible within that range. And something that came up during development was that when we were sampling deeper shades, we noticed that the type of pearl that we use within Glow Lust was casting a little bit ashy onto deeper skin tones. So, you know, at that point, like I had gone back to the lab, I had said like, you know, I really want to, I want to lessen the amount of pearl that we're using so that it's not, it needs to be tapered basically with each shade. Part of it is just like we're a very small brand, so we're not placing orders of millions and millions of units. And part of it is that like this was a new relationship at the time, but they were reluctant to kind of make adjustments for me. So it was a real like battle back and forth for many months of trying to just get them to adjust this thing ever so slightly, which we ended up being able to do. And like, I'm happy with where the shades are at now, but it was really nice having Kiki to talk to because she had kind of been through a similar song and dance of, you know, wanting her products, knowing what she wanted her products to be and fighting with labs and having it not come out properly. And so what Kiki ended up eventually doing is starting to learn how to make her own cosmetics. I'm going to start by applying my concealer. This is their little quad from Salt. They're beautiful. They're like little travel-friendly cases, zippered. They have a mirror on the inside, and then this bottom part is magnetic. So you can fit 4 of her pans into that little quad there. So I'm gonna start with my concealer. I'm going to use the Light Peach Corrector first. You don't need a lot of this. Kiki she has a very particular talent with color that, disclaimer, will ruin your life. I just need you to know that before you get into this. So you can make the decision, like, do I want to experience the best shade in concealer and foundation that I will ever experience? knowing that that means that every other foundation from here on out will be the worst? Or do I just want to continue to like live with the wool over my eyes? And that's a serious question for you to answer. Because once I tried her concealer and foundation shades, I was like, oh no. All of my favorite foundations, when I went back to them afterwards, I was like, there's a lot of formulas on the market that I really love, and the shades are so truly disappointing. I'm going to move on with this. I'll talk to you in a second. I'm gonna put down the light peach. We gotta get going here. So I'm just dipping my brush into that, and then I will wipe off the excess on the back of my hand, and we can pick up more if we need it. And I'm just going to start with a little bit of that underneath my eyes. And I'm just using that to correct a little bit. What I love about that shade of color corrector, a lot of traditional color correctors, as in almost all of them, are very intensely peach colored or like very intensely orange, and so pigmented to the extent that you end up having to correct the color of the color corrector. So the color corrector is like so intense, and it's meant to correct, you know, the colors of like those blue and purple tones underneath your eyes. But then it is like this intense peach where then you have to go over with a really, really pigmented concealer so that you're concealing the color of the color corrector, if that makes sense. So at that point, it's like you're doing double the work. With this, like I could honestly just wear the color corrector by itself if I felt so inclined, because it's not such an over the top peach tone. It has enough of that peachiness to it where it's going to correct those tones, but it's not so dramatic that now like I have to find something really, really pigmented to go over top so that you're not going to see that I have like bright peach underneath my eyes. So it just does a good job of kind of canceling out those tones and leaving it at that. Then for the best case concealer, I'm using N12, which is right here. So when you first get the concealers or foundations, if you're a similar skin tone to me, when I first took them out of the package, when she had launched these, I was like, it's gray. It's like a little gray. Like, what is this? When I looked at it, I was like, that's unfortunate that she mixed up gray foundation and then sent it out to the masses. But I mean, what can you do? And then I tried it and I was like, yep, that's the one. That's my perfect match. Okay, cool. And when I talked to her about it, I was like, explain this to me. And she was like, okay, so with foundations, it's like some of the tones look like they're going to be okay, but they're so oversaturated, and that's the problem. So I think you will be very, very shocked at how well this matches. And those are the kind of things that it can just be very hard with labs, because like you can push and push and push and push and push for something. But I think Kiki has such an eye for this because she previously worked as a makeup artist, and this is just like literally one big promotion for Kiki as a person. And so I think a lot of you would be surprised by how many people work for cosmetic labs and how many people work for makeup brands that do not do makeup, wear makeup, care about makeup whatsoever, which is like, it's actually not fine. It really kind of fucks things up. Having that knowledge is so unbelievably beneficial, obviously, for when it comes to making products and particularly shades. Knowing how it's gonna sit on the skin, knowing how shades are going to translate on the skin, knowing the issues that exist within makeup and within, you know, having to apply things in a certain way due to the fact that the product doesn't do what it's supposed to do in the first place. And honestly, to this day, every single time I put on my concealer or my skin tint from Salt, I'm just like, it's like mind-boggling almost that she was able to achieve shades that are as skin-like as they are. So that is the best case concealer. In my opinion, the best way to apply it is just to do like a very feather light touch. Just apply a very small amount. You don't need a ton of it. Being really thoughtful about concealing what you need to conceal, not over applying product. These are creams that we're working with. Oftentimes you need to under apply rather than over apply, in my humble opinion. I'm gonna go in with the Sneaky Bomb Skin Tint. I'm using shade N11. And I'm just gonna pick up a bunch on my brush, and then same thing, I kind of dot that off onto the back of my hand. I'm honestly gonna dip back and forth between N11 and N12 because it is winter out. And then once I've kind of dotted off like the majority of the product there, I'm literally just going to dot that on very lightly and do kind of like an overall base. And then once I'm done doing a sheer layer over top of my entire face, I can go back in with my smaller brush and do some more kind of like pointed coverage in the areas that I feel like need it. This formula is a little bit more dewy, which makes it sit on the skin really beautifully. But that's why I would recommend, if you don't love like a really dewy finish, to really spend the time kind of like working that product into the brush. The more it's worked into the brush, the less dewy it shows up on the skin, I feel. So that's kind of the best way to minimize glow if you're wanting to minimize glow, which like, why would you? But I mean, like, to each their own. And also to just not, again, over apply that product. Okay, and I'm just gonna take my slightly smaller concealer brush here and use that to go around my nose area. I like a smaller brush for a smaller spot. Is that a crime? I don't freaking think so. So you can see like my redness still shows through there. Like I applied like a very sheer layer, but there isn't this like really intense peachy cast or pinky cast from that shade. It's been a little while since we pulled out a chef's kiss, but now's the time. I'm gonna go a little bit more around the areas where I have a little bit more redness. Let me hop off quickly. I'm gonna do my friggin' eyebrows and then give me a hot second. Also, Arrow's barking like a fucking banshee up there. All right, guys, we're back and better than freaking ever. Brows are on. Once again, just have to stress the fact that the best thing I ever did, therapy probably, but also no longer plucking my eyebrows. I'm just like a free woman. Okay, let's do the rest of our face makeup here. I have to announce devastating news. Sunburnt, one of Kiki's best works in my opinion. That blush is very special. It is so good. I don't know where the hell I put it. Before I started filming, I was like rummaging through everything. I have like a 3 office situation happening here. I have like this office, which is in our guest bedroom actually, that I share with my mom. This is where we do like all of our auric calls and all that kind of stuff. So it's like I have my auric stuff in this office. I have a filming setup out there that's like in this doesn't matter. It's in this like open area, so it's really loud and it's actually horrible for filming. But I have like some of my makeup there. Then I have like these cupboard things where I have like all my auric samples and some of my extra like overflow makeup. And then upstairs I have where I typically get ready. So it's just, I've got shit everywhere basically. So I was like rummaging through all these different places trying to find my freaking blush and I couldn't find it. I'm really devastated, but blessing in disguise kind of, because I have yet to try Kiki's latest launch, which is the Mood Lighting Blush. So I have the light and medium one here, and then she has a third one that's deep, so she has like 3 variations of the same kind of like color basically. And then I have a brand new taupe bronzer. So I'm gonna use bronzer and taupe first, and then I'm gonna use Mood Lighting in the light tone. Kiki's bronzers and blushes are where I first truly fell in love. I would say her bronzer was like the thing that really got me, because I just really loved the tone, and then I was sold from there. There's a lot of shades out there that's like, ooh, if this was just only a little bit more whatever, it would be perfect. And then Kiki's just like, no problem, I'll just do that. I think I forgot where I left off with the like meeting Kiki story and getting to know her. But yeah, at some point Kiki started making her own cosmetics and she hired a chemist to kind of like walk her through all of these different things. And now she's like fully set up. She's making all her products in New York. So I really like to just kind of stipple that on and then start first where you want the highest concentration of color. And then as you have less product and pigment on your brush, then you can kind of move towards other parts of your face. So if I'm doing underneath my cheekbones, I start like kind of right here at the back, and then I stipple forward and upwards as I have less product on my brush. I literally never think about the fact that I have vocal fry, by the way, until I film a YouTube video. And then the whole time I'm talking, I'm like talking, and then as I get through my sentence, I start becoming more and more insecure, and usually my vocal fry gets worse towards the end of my sentence. And then as I'm editing, that like insecurity really goes through the roof. But otherwise, it quite literally never crosses my mind ever until I fucking set up a camera, and then I'm like, oh God. Okay, let's try this blush. Ooh, it does look particularly beautiful. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, like part of me almost wishes I had put on less bronzer. I know that's crazy to say, but I almost wish that I had put on less bronzer just so that I could witness this blush even more, you know? But I guess we'll just have to wear way too much blush And I think that that's perfectly fine. Ooh, that is like a very, 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 very nice color. Wow, wow, wow. Did I just put a little bit of this on my lips? God, I don't do my makeup very much anymore, but I should, probably. I'm just gonna put a little bit of my lip balm over top. I'm doing a little bit of recovery. I think we're done here, folks. That's really all I had to say. I have so much more to say. I could just sit here and chat for hours, frankly, but I can't do that. I have to like go clean my house and stuff. It is appalling what they expect of adults. They being, I don't know, just like general society, I guess. It's just like, oh my God, fucking cook, clean, do your laundry, then do it again the next day, and like again and again and again, raise your children. Oh my God, what do you want from me? Anyways, I had fun. You know, we come out here, we have our braids in, just have a grand old time, frickin' film it. It's the editing. That's really what gets me. Alyssa, my BFF, used to edit my videos, and that was the true heyday. And I know what you're about to say. It's like, just get someone else to edit your videos. I'm like, yes, I could, but also like, wow, that would be the most inconsistent work for them ever. And there's something bone chilling about someone having to witness you retelling a joke like 4 times because you misspoke the first 3. It's a humbling thing. Anyways, see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out, and bye. I can't remember how I sign off, so we'll just end it here. Okay, see you later.